I invite you now to close your eyes, if that's comfortable for you. Take a deep breath and just hold it for a moment. We let go and we let God. We let go, let God. In the beginning, God created light. By this light I have come to see that I am never alone. Whether in high places or low, in turmoil or peace, God walks with me every step of the way. The experience of my life provide me with endless opportunities to see something good at hand for me. See the good for you in silence. More powerful than anything else, the love of God protects me from all that would seem to threaten my happiness. The love of God is evident in possibilities that seem beyond the present moment. Yet, I sense that I have only to accept it now. Accept the love of God once more in the silence. In the silence, I see the truth of one presence and one power in all the world. This presence is all there is. The presence and power works with me and for me. I put my trust in one and let no other come into mine. The one. Wherever I may be now, in time to come, God is with me. This is the truth of which I am centered upon, which I act on every day. I let go and allow God to be within me. In this I decree, in the name and through the power of the living Christ. Amen. Amen. My name is Maurice Guerette. You did pretty good.
Thank you.
And my title today is Cleaning Out Hell So Heaven Can Reign. Anybody ever tell you to go to hell? I usually respond, been there, done that, and I don't like it, so I'm not going there again. So don't take me there. This month, we're talking about elimination and clearing out old things. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to clean out hell. And the hell is within us, that consciousness within us. And there's a wonderful Bible quote that says, as above, so below. Be ye in the world, but not of the world. A lot of people have said, what does that mean? What does that mean, anyway? Well, when we say the Lord's Prayer, we say, on earth as it is in heaven. So there's the explanation right there. But there's more to it. There are very lofty phrases like that in the Bible that we don't always understand. But many have wondered what they really mean. So, more practically, what do we really mean for us in our life? What does that mean? Be of this world and not be in this world and not of this world. What does that mean? So that the earthly, worldly experiences with all the dust and the dirt and the grime and the negativity that is in the world, we are transmitted into heavenly ones when we understand where they're coming from. So that the earthly, worldly experiences with all the dust and debris and negativity, the grime that come with them, are transmitted into heavenly ones. So that's what it means. As above, so below. In heaven. On earth as it is in heaven. So, a Sunday school teacher was teaching some grade school kids. And she asked them this question. She says, well, if I sell my house, my car, have a big garage sale and get rid of all my possessions and give the money to the church, will that get me into heaven? And they all said, no. She said, well, what about if I really give candy to kids, take care of the needy, and do wonderful works of kindness throughout the community, will that get me into heaven? And they says, no. Well, what if I volunteer at the church and do the cleaning and cutting the lawn and taking care of all the activities around the church? Will that get me into heaven? And again, they said no. So the teacher says, well, so how do I get to heaven? And the little boy in the back raises his hand. He says, you got to be dead. But in Unity, we teach you don't have to be dead. The other day I was in Bash's, and there was a clerk there, and he had all kinds of religious buttons on his shirt. I don't know if you've seen it there.
You bet.
Yeah. So, and I said, well, how are you doing today? And he says, one day closer to heaven.
That's right.
I said, really? How do you figure that? So he thinks you got to be dead to get to heaven. But in Unity, we don't teach that. What we teach is that we need to let go of that which does not allow us in consciousness to experience the kingdom of heaven on earth. We got to let all that go. Ernest Holmes, founder of religious science, said this: behold, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. But this kingdom must be recognized. The recognition is a mental act. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said, your being is in heaven. The spiritual consciousness you descended from, that high estate, you belong there now. You are there now if you will but realize it and will but comply with the laws of heaven. We are spiritual beings having a human existence. But sometimes we block all that that heavenly existence here on earth by our consciousness, by our thoughts. We go to hell, technically speaking. We must release whatever keeps us from recognizing, complying with the laws of the kingdom in our lives. The kingdom of heaven that is within us. We must ever go so far as to say we need to clear out hell so heaven can reign. so we can have a wonderful life. Many famous sculptors, including Michelangelo, who did the beautiful statue of David, and the mother and child statues, many big statues that he did. And sculptors all have a thought behind their work. And it goes like this: days flowing into weeks, I use my chisel and mallets, always clinging to my sense of that outline of the outcome, which grows ever so stronger. How the big figures reacts to life, how they show up in life. It seems clear now, for I know the one thing I must do, with an utter singleness of purpose. I must chip away every last bit of stone that is not the figure I want to create. Then and only then can the figure come to life. Did you ever have a picture of when you're doing a drawing or something like that? What you want to accomplish? It's in your vision. It's in your mind. It's the same thing as heaven. People picture heaven differently than others. There are many more stories in being related today of people that have gone there. Literally, when they've died and gone into heaven. I saw the movie about there is a heaven, the little boy that died. He was dead for a while, and he told his parents when he came back what it was all about. And it's so true. But that's what we picture it's going to be after we die. But we can have that right now. The key phrase in the statement that I just read is that with utter singleness of purpose. That's why you're here, is to get that purpose. What life is all about. I must chip away every bit of stone that is not the figure I want to create. What does my life want to look like? But we keep holding on to these old attachments, these mind thoughts, and this negativity. We hang on to it. And though, my friends, are tasked with an utter singleness of purpose, we must chip away everything that is not heavenly thoughts. Get rid of all the negativity. Clear out hell so that heaven can reign. What is hell anyway? I did paraphrase a little bit of what we see as hell. But there was an article in the Arizona Star many years ago. And I was overwhelmed when I read it because I used to be Catholic. And for many years, I was pounded in me about heaven and hell. About you're going to go to hell if you know this, that, and the other. So when Pope John Paul quoted this statement, he said, heaven is neither an abstraction nor a physical place in the clouds, but a living and personal relationship of union with the Holy Trinity. End quote. And then he said, hell is not a punishment imposed externally by God, but the condition resulting from attitudes and actions which people adopt in this life. More than a physical place, he says, hell is the state of those who freely and definitely separate themselves from God, the source of all life and joy. I was blown away by that statement because that's what I've been studying in unity. That's what got me into unity, was that belief system that there's no such place as hell. But I want to talk this morning about two ways we experience the hell of separation from the source of all life and joy that was mentioned. Two blocks that
excuse me, if we were to chisel them away, clear them out, heaven could reign more freely from in our lives. These two blocks are fear and blame. Those two blocks. Let go of fear. And there's many acronyms for fear. False evidence appearing real is the one that I like. It's been said that there are really only two emotions, love and fear. Marianne Williamson, famous author and unity minister, says love in your mind produces love in your life. This is the meaning of heaven. Fear in your mind produces fear in your life. This is the meaning of hell. End quote. That's what it's all about. That's why there are only two emotions. You're either in hell or in heaven. A great illustration of this fear is when our daughter, our youngest daughter, was about maybe 4 years old. We had a swimming pool on the side yard and above ground, and she just loved to get into that pool. She put those little goggles on and a bathing cap, and she looked like a little frog. But she would hang on to that side for dear life, and she would just move around and move around. And we'd say, well, get out to the middle, get out to the middle. No, 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 no. And she'd stick her head under the water. And, oh, it was so much fun. But she wouldn't go beyond that circle, that wall. She just hung on to it. So we encouraged her. It'd be more fun if you get in there and play. So she says, I want to, I'm going to. And she finally let go and made her way to the middle. And she says, look at me, I got the power. I got the power. And she started moving around and splashing. And that's how she learned to swim. She let go of that fear. She would grab onto it. And she finally, I taught her how to swim by hanging onto the side and kicking her feet. Kicking her feet and keeping her body up on the water. And eventually she drifted off and learned to swim that way. She loved to swim now. So she let go of her fear of going underwater. She had nose thing in anyway, so she was well protected anyway. Plus she had those things in her arms too. So we didn't just push her off in the middle. No conveniences. The next is letting go of blame. What really was profound in my study, my beginning of study of unity, was that I am 100% responsible for my life. I am 100% responsible for my life and what goes on in my life, because I create my life. It's nothing outside there that does that. I am responsible. So just like the other two emotions, there are really only two ways we can show up in life. Blaming or taking responsibility. Blaming things out there. She did this, she does this, he does that. It's because of that. I'm not smart enough, I don't care enough, they don't care enough about me, I'm not being loved, I'm not worthy. It's things out there. That's not where it is. George Bernard Shaw once said, liberty means responsibility. That is why most men dread it so. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their actions. They blame it on others. Blaming your surroundings, your circumstances, your culture, how you were raised. We have a belief that was wonderfully worded by New Thought minister David Owen Ritz. Whatever we experience in life, we either create, promote, allow, or step in. When we blame, we become a victim. But when we take responsibility, we become empowered. End quote. We take responsibility. Whenever you look outside ourselves to a point, a figure, and say, they're the problem. And you get a lot of that in churches. The fire is within you to blame others. Whenever you look outside yourself, the system, whatever, you're shooting at the wrong target. You're aiming at the wrong target. So often we try to change outer things instead of changing the inner. How you view it. We fire at the screen instead of the projector. There are things going on the screen of your life, and you're throwing things at it when you should be changing the projector. Change the reel. Rewrite your script. Rewrite your life. When people didn't like what they saw, they threw things at the screen. Well, that's what happens to you too. What you think about, you draw to yourself. You bring it on. Instead of firing at the screen, they stop the projector and change the reel. You have that power. When we start to change our consciousness, we fire at the projector, and then things happen. History is filled with examples of people who created a slice of heaven on earth by taking responsibility for their own lives and connecting with their inner source, rather than blaming their circumstances or others. A man named Muhammad was an illiterate caravan guide, yet one night in a cave, communing alone, had a revelation from within. Rather than letting his lowly structure in life stop him, he founded a great culture and established the Islamic religion. While despite the bad press it's gotten lately, it's a beautiful, loving, healing belief system that is influencing more than 200 million. Moses, a shy man with a little to no self-confidence and a speech impediment, inspired an entire nation to freedom and a new way of life. Did he blame his parents for not instilling self-confidence in him and his genetics for giving him a speech impediment? No. He did what God called him to do. And a man named Jesus, a simple carpenter's son living in an obscure village in an obscure province that he never left, who went against the grains of popular religious belief and changed the course of human events. Did he blame others? Absolutely not. He asked God to forgive them. Creating heaven here on earth takes radical commitment to a different way of being. A mental response to life that may be at odds with the way you've been showing up. It takes releasing fear and blame once and for all. It takes clearing out hell So when someone tells you to go to hell, say you've been there. But just don't stop. There's a wonderful country song that says, if you're going through hell, don't stop and build a condo. Keep on going. And the devil will never know you were there. Right? It's a wonderful song. So don't build a condo in your consciousness and hang on to things that don't bring you heavenly thoughts. Think wonderful thoughts, positive thoughts. For there is only one presence and one power. And that's the light of God within you. God bless you and have a wonderful